So if you're anything like me, it's now what? 6 days away from winter. I have got my jumpers out of the cupboard for the first time in a long time. It's getting warmer, the heaters are coming on, and just like we need to bundle up and get extra comfort and extra protection, our leafy friends actually need a bit of extra love and a bit of extra comfort and protection too. So let's go through some essential tips today that I just want to share with you that I'm doing now just to help your plants get through the tougher times, the cooler days, the central heating when it's all turned on, all the windows are closed up. But if you look after them and you look after them well, they'll survive all the way nice and happily. They'll stay peaceful until spring comes and you'll have some beautiful new growth. So grab your favourite hot drink, maybe a nice blanket to snuggle up in, and let's get into the world of winter plant care. So the first part we're going to talk about is lighting, and the main tip really in winter is just to try and make sure you maintain adequate lighting enough for your plants. Now in winter we all know that the days get shorter and there's less light throughout the day. Of course, with the sun moving across the sky, it'll be in a different position, so you'll have different sunlight angles coming through, and that will also affect how much light some of your plants will get. So just make sure that you are moving your plants maybe a little bit closer to the window. Don't let your plants touch the window because the windows get very, very cold during winter. And of course, if you want to, invest in some grow lights. And honestly, you don't have to buy expensive grow lights. There's so many different options. In fact, some of the lights that I've bought aren't specific grow lights for plants. It's just making sure you find the right LED light and the right number on LED. Now with grow lights or any type of light, you kind of want to emulate the daylight. Make sure it's LED and make sure it has 5,000, 6,000, 5,500 somewhere on that box, and that'll give you a representation of lighting that will be the same as sunlight. So I have bought grow lights, I've bought beautiful, expensive, dimmable grow lights for some of my really expensive plants, but I've also bought like a $20 lighting LED bar which had enough lighting from Bunnings, and I use that as well. So the whole idea is just to try and make sure you just give a little bit more lighting throughout your home when there's less light actual in the sunlight, and that makes sense. So the next one is probably something you may not think about. I'm so terrible at cleaning my leaves, but you really want to make sure all the leaves on your plants are as clean as they can be, especially on those days that have less light, because the green in your leaves helps it photosynthesize, which helps it get its energy. So if it's got less light, it's going to photosynthesize less, and if there's dust or dirt or grime on these leaves, the impact of the light onto the leaves will have to get through all that dust and grime, so it's an extra layer of blockage for that sunlight that is already diminishing throughout the day. I hope that makes sense. So clean your leaves. Go around, use a neem oil spray, or even just like a little bit of a soapy water or an insecticide, whatever it is. You can get foliar sprays that actually give your leaves a little bit of vitamin. I use this one here all the time. It's a great spray. And I also use microfiber gloves when cleaning my plants. So just keep the leaves as clean as you can. Watch for dust and dirt. Try and maximize the amount of light that your leaves are getting to help it maximize the amount of energy and stay a little bit more happy throughout the winter months. And while you're there, you can go on to the next tip and check for pests. So if you're anything like me, you love sitting next to the heater, because I can get really cold in winter. I turn the heater on and put it like here. I'm just like all the way close. And I love a warm heat on me. The problem is your pests love a nice, dry, comfy, cozy, warm environment, just kind of like we do. So in winter time, when we've got the heater on and all the doors closed, there's not much airflow. It's a nice warm environment, and therefore those pests can thrive and they can multiply. You don't want that. So while you're cleaning your leaves, look in all the crevices, look between the stems, look on the back of the leaves. Just make sure you're wiping over all of those plants. Keep them clean. Remove any dust, get rid of pests. You don't want them to hibernate and multiply over winter and then pop up in spring everywhere. And especially check for spider mites, because spider mites love a dry environment. Ugh, I hate spider mites. Clean your leaves, check for pests, and they'll be tougher and they'll be stronger when spring comes. The next area we're going to talk about is watering your plants. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but overwatering plants is the biggest killer of plants around the world. Especially if you're a beginner or just starting out with plants, it's actually really hard to know what overwatering is or know if you are overwatering your plants. And in winter, because it's not as hot, then all the water that you do put into your soil doesn't evaporate as quickly. I'm sure you already know this. It makes a lot of sense. So you just want to make sure that you're adjusting your watering schedule down a little bit. So if you watered your plant every 10 days, you might want to take it to every 14 days or 15 days. To be honest though, if you really want to get to know your plants, don't worry about being every 7-day water. Don't water all your plants every 7 days. You kind of want to get to know how each plant goes through its water. So the best thing you can do when watering, whether it's summer or whether it's winter, is wait for at least the top half to 2/3 of that pot to dry out. So it'll take longer to dry out in winter and it'll take shorter to dry out in summer, but it's still the same rule. So at least a half to 2/3 depending on the plant. Some plants like more water, of course, some plants like less. So for me with my aroids here, I literally wait till the whole pot is almost dry, at least 2/3, and then I'll water again. It's always better to underwater than overwater, because if you see a little plant droopy from underwatering, all you have to do is water it. But if a plant droops from overwatering and you water it again, it's even worse and you can get a hole into a trouble. And that's when plants don't make it, kind of thing. And that's why it's so hard, right? Because plants will droop whether it's overwatered or underwatered. So if you follow that rule of at least drying out half to 2/3, adjust your watering schedule down and don't water as often in the cooler months, and your plants will be safer. So we're at the final one. The fifth and final tip is to make sure that your plants are not sitting near any cold, drafty windows, and especially not next to heaters. You don't want your plants sitting in front of dry, hot heat. It really is not good for your plants. In fact, a lot of plants like high humidity. And so in winter, when we close all the doors and windows, even though it gets rid of the drafts, which is a good thing, it creates a very non-airy environment. A couple of things you might want to do is maybe just open up for some fresh air every now and again when it's a little bit nicer. The other thing, of course, is just see if you can maintain the humidity a little bit more. So you can invest in humidifiers. You can get fairly cheap ones that are small. You can get large ones. I personally love Levoit. Levoit, I hope I'm saying that right. I think it's a French brand. Levoit, Levoit. I love them. I've got about 4 of them. No sponsorship. I just absolutely love them. And they're connected to my phone, so that's nice. But you don't need a humidifier either. You don't need a machine. You can create humidity by using pebble trays. You can create humidity by literally just grouping plants together. That's why you see all of us plant enthusiasts have all these plants grouped together, because it does actually help with humidity. And even you might want to buy a little water fountain or something and put that near your plants, and just the water that comes off naturally in the air from the little water fountain or the water feature, and the sound of trickling water. Oh, I love that white noise. It's just beautiful. Actually, one tip I didn't even think of. One of the things you really should try and do during winter is collect rainwater. It is the most beautiful thing for plants. Put all the big pots and pans, buy us whatever you can to collect all the water, and then water your plants with it. It's the most purest, beautiful, oxygenated water. Make sure it comes down to room temperature, so maybe leave it overnight, but your plants will absolutely thank you for it in winter. There's a lot of water outside when it rains, so grab that extra rainwater. There you go. There's 6 tips to keep your plants happy and healthy through winter, not 5. So there you have it, my top 5, or my top 5.5, my top 6, whatever you call it. They're the key tips that I recommend you do now all the way through winter, and they will definitely survive winter. They may even thrive. You may even see them continue to grow, and if they do continue to grow, keep feeding them fertilizer as you have been, because growing plants need that extra strength, so don't forget that. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Give me a like and a thumbs up down below. Give me some comments down below. Any questions from this video, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.